What is up, YouTube? It's Youngest Chief, and today I just want to break down a little bit more about the Mide Lodge, the Native Americans' own secret society that probably most people don't know about. They're probably slept on, like most Native American, prophecies, rituals, whatnot. But Hold up. Where is the... I don't want... Where's the other website? This ain't the one I wanted. One moment. Alright, here we go. Alright. Mide or Grand Medicine Society is a spiritual society found historically among the upper Great Lakes, Anishinaabe, northern prairies of eastern subarctic. Once widespread, the Mide became less prevalent after the arrival of Europeans in the 18th, 19th centuries. Today, the largest Mide societies are found in Ontario, Manitoba, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. The Mide and what it is and what it does. The Mide is a religious society made up of spiritual advisors and healers known as the Mide. The Mide serve as spiritual leaders for the general populace. They perform religious ceremonies, study and practice sacred healing methods, and strive to maintain a respectful relationship between humanity and Mother Earth. The Mide is an essential part of the worldview of the Ojibwe. That is what tribe I am from, and some other Algonquin and Eastern Woodland indigenous peoples. Sorry if I said that wrong. I don't know. I struggle with that. European settlers have historically described the Mide as closed and secret society. While it is true that the Mide is a structured society with various classes of leaders, it does offer services to the public. At their place of prayer, generally referred to as the Mide Lodge, the Mide perform religious ceremonies for both the general public and initiates. According to Bob Gulius, a second-degree member of the Three Fires Mide Lodge, the Mide was once fully integrated into the lives of all Ojibwe. That is how I found it within myself, even though I did not know I had these abilities, because of all the trauma that Native Americans have endured over our generations. You can always find your spirit. It's never lost. It's always a part of you. Your soul, your spirit, it's always there. So that is how I found mine. That is why I do not have to be a part of any society. That is why I don't have to have a teacher besides Mother Earth and myself, and trusting my own intuition. So I'm sure I had teachers in the past for sure, but I work with my spirit team, which is my teachers. I've had plenty of teachers, but not like... I've had one person, but I don't think it's for my best interest, but I mean, maybe. I have no idea. I don't know. That relationship confuses me, and I just don't even want to think about it at the moment, honestly. The Mide Lodge was a source of our governance. It was where we prayed. It was where our children and people were educated through traditional teachings. It is where we were given our names and where we were married to our spouses. It was where we went to healing, counsel, and fellowship. It was where we held our social gatherings. At the end of the days, the Mide Lodge was where we had our funerals. Even those who had not been initiated in the Mide society came to the Mide people in the lodge for these things. It is possible that colonials described the Mide as secretive because they did not understand the society's practices, or because they were not welcome at Mide ceremonies. Europeans may have also been describing the tight control over sacred teachings, or of restrictions to membership in the leadership. That is why they are pissed that I knew everything. Around the turn of the 20th century, the Midwinland have indeed been closed to outsiders, but during an era of cultural assimilation, see Indian Act, residential schools reserves, this was the Midwinland's way of protecting and preserving its faith. The one thing that we had that we were allowed to hold on to, basically. And just barely. I barely didn't even survive. I can't even find like a ceremony to fucking like go to, low-key. I've been looking everywhere. The Ojibwe tell stories about how Gichi Menado, also known as Great Spirit, created the Midwinland. It created everything, all things. Have the Great Spirit. It is the spirit that brings things alive. If you're not alive, you don't have spirit in you. You lost your spirit. You sold your soul. That is being spiritless. You know what I mean? Created the Midwinland. Although different versions of the story exist, they all have important commonalities. The first is that Menado gave cultural hero Nenabozo, also known as Minabozo or Great Rabbit, the power and knowledge to help those who were ill, hungry, and in distress. Menado bestowed upon Nenabozo the secrets of the Midwinland. Second, Nenabozo entrusted Otter with these teachings, giving him additional tools to help cure the sick, such as tobacco, a drum, and a rattle. These sacred objects and teachings, as well as the otter itself, remain important elements of the Midwinland's spirituality. Third, Migi shells feature predominantly in Ojibwe oral histories about creation and the Midwinland. These sacred shells are used in the healing practice and ceremonies of the Midwinland. The earliest mentions of the Midwinland or indigenous healers, see shaman, in the records of European explorers, traders, and settlers are in the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Some historians have taken these records as evidence that the Midwinland was established during the time in reaction to increase the permanent European presence in North America. However, archaeologists point to the evidence that suggests the Midwinland predates the arrival of Europeans. Midwinland scrolls, unearthed burial sites, and fragments of pottery have been radiocarbon dated to at least between 800 and 1,000 years old. That is what I believe some of the artifacts that I have found that everybody refused to get looked at. And everyone's just like, oh, he's just making this story up. Like, no. Like, that's not true. Nobody would help him get looked at. Nobody would. Not even the Native American Center in Minneapolis. The whole big-ass building dedicated to Native Americans didn't do a damn thing. It's a shame. For real, it's a shame. Couldn't even point me in the right direction where to get them looked at. If there's something not wrong with that, you can tell the times we're in. That's crazy. The initiates. Midwinland membership. The Midwinland has 4 to 8 grades of membership depending on the community. Each grade has its own initiation rites and periods of instruction about medicine and healing. The higher the level of membership, the greater the knowledge and the healing power conferred upon the initiate. In the past, Mide also had to pay fees to rise in the ranks, but these have now been removed, although initiates are still expected to provide feasts at certain ceremonies and cover travel costs. Yes. Historically, the events of initiation ceremonies were recorded in line drawings on bark scrolls. They are also on the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent at Chichen Itza. That is the calendar. Let me see. An individual's rank in the society was marked by facial paintings and used of certain animals or bird skins, of which the Midwinland bag medicine bundle was made. Skins denoting specific grades, including that of the weasel, the mink, the paw of the bear or wildcat, the rattlesnake, the owl, and the hawk. I had a mink jacket that I sold. I also had a like a tool, I should just say that, with a it was on a it was like a hammer with a big rock, and then it chiseled out was like a bear. And I don't know. The honestly the bit it doesn't mention it in here, but like most, I'm not gonna say the most greatest one, but like the overseer of all of those is the eagle. The eagle is dominant of the whole, like the whole, I don't know, kingdom, I guess. Today, but they're all equally, like, when I say that, it's not egotistical. It's like the eagle is as important as like a cricket. You know what I mean? Without the cricket, there's no eagle. Without the eagle, there's no cricket. We are all one. And by the way, I feel somebody doing black magic on me right now. Like, my body hurts. Like, I can feel them, like, attacking my body. Got me fucked up, low key. Today, Midwewin initiates generally participate in the reciting of sacred stories and songs, the practice of herbal remedies, and the performing of dances from which it is said they receive their powers to heal and cure. The Midwewin bag remains an important part of their service as it contains sacred objects that allow them to heal. Mide also participate in sweat lodges, vision quests, and other cultural spiritual ceremonies that help focus their thoughts and cleanse their bodies, minds, and souls. Modern Mide are expected to learn and practice the language of the Midwewin Ojibwe. Yeah, I would love to learn my language. That'd be sick. Years of cultural assimilation and government restrictions on Midwewin practice significantly curtailed the Midwewin population. By the way, the police, I woke up to them knocking on my door today. They're like, we heard you made a file yesterday. They're like, you made a report. And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, do you have any, like, mental, like, are you on any meds? And I was like, no, like, a long time ago, like 3 years ago. He's like, do you think you need help? I was like, yeah, help that you aren't going to offer me, obviously. I understand that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're trying to get me to go insane. They're trying to get me to act out of pocket so they can, say I'm crazy. Because guess what? There's not very many Midwewin left, but there are only a few Midwewin lodges in North America with members in Ontario, Manitoba, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Midwewin ceremonies are held throughout the year. Whatever. The Midwewin is a resilient spiritual institution that has survived religious and cultural persecution. Barely. They continue to try to persecute me, and that's besides the point. Mide are making great efforts to pass on their faith and belief system to younger generations. Trying. The Mishamos book, written by Grand Chief of the Three Fires Midwewin Lodge, Edward Benton Benai, tells youth and non-Ojibwe peoples alike about Ojibwe history and culture. Many Mide argue that reconnecting with their faith and tradition can help modern youth as well as indigenous people in general to live a healthy life. If you are able to become students, you may be able to be taught a thing or two, but there's no wisdom in ignorance. Let me see this. The Midwewin is a secretive religion of some of the indigenous peoples of the Maritimes, New England. And this is off Wikipedia. We'll see. I mean, I don't know how factual that is, but I mean, There's got to be some New England people from in the society though, for sure. And Great Lakes regions of North America. It definitely started in on this side of the continent, or on this side of the world. And when when they traveled by boat to over on this side, they obviously, the New Englanders had to join the society at some point, its practitioners are called Mide, and practices of the Midwinter are referred to as Mide. Occasionally, male Midu are called whatever. What is translated into English, medicine man. That is me. I am a modern day medicine man. No, I did not go to school to study medicine. Due to the body part medial, day, meaning heart, in the Anishinaabe language, Midwidwin is sometimes translated as the way of the heart. Blessing shares a definition he receives from Thomas Shingob, a Midwidwin person of the Mille Lacs Indian Reservation. This ain't Mille Lacs, but shout out to Mankato. According to in 1969, who told him that the only thing that would be acceptable in any way as an interpretation of Mide would be spiritual mystery. Fluent speakers of the Anishinaabe Moan often caution that there are many words and concepts that have no direct translation to English. According to historian Michael Angel, I don't know if that's Archangel Michael, but if it is, shout out to Archangel Michael. The Midwewin is a flexible, tenacious tradition that provides an institutional setting for the teaching of the worldview of the Ojibwe people. Commonly among the Anishinaabe, Midwewin is ascribed to Winnebago as its founder. However, among the Abenakis, Midwewin is ascribed to Madagus, who bestowed the Midwewin upon his death to comfort his grieving brother Gluskub, who is still alive. Walter James Hoffman recorded that according to the Mille Lacs chief Bazing Lone One, Midwewin has its origin as, in the beginning, Midi Menado made the Midi Menadowag. He first created 2 men, 2 women, but they had no power or thought of reason. Then Midi Menado made them rational beings. He took them in his hand so that they should multiply. He paired them, and from this sprung the Anishinaabe, where there were people. He placed them upon the earth, but he soon observed that they were subject to sickness, misery, and death, and that unless he provided them with the sacred medicine, they would soon become extinct. I'm not sure how much I believe this. 2 men, 2 women, but they might have. Maybe. Maybe I'm not sure. Between the position occupied by Geechee Menado on the earth were 4 lesser Menado, which whom Geechee Menado decided to commune and to impart to them the mysteries by which the Anishinaabe could be benefited. See, I do believe that, so there probably was 4. So he first spoke to Menado and told him all he had to say, who in turn communicated to the same information to the next, and he in turn to the next, who also communed with the next. They all met in council and determined to call in the 4-wind Menado. After consulting as to what would be best for the comfort and welfare of the Anishinaabe, these Menado agreed to ask Geechee Menado to communicate the mysteries of the sacred medicine to the people. Great Spirit. The Great Spirit had told me this. It's so fucking crazy. Like, Gigi Menadol then went to the Sun Spirit and asked him to go to the earth and instruct the people as had been decided upon the council. The Sun Spirit, in the form of a little boy, went to the earth and lived with the woman who had a little boy of her own. The family went away in the autumn to hunt, and during the winter this woman's son died. The parents were so much distressed that they decided to return to the village and bury the body there. So they made preparations to return. As soon as they traveled along, they would each evening erect several poles upon which the body was placed to prevent the wild beasts from devouring it. When the dead boy was thus hanging upon the poles, the adopted child, who was the Sun Spirit, would play about the camp and amuse himself, and finally told his adopted father he pitied him and his mother for their sorrow. The adopted son said he could bring his dead brother to life, whereupon the parents expressed great surprise and desire to know how that could be accomplished. The adopted boy then had the party hasten to the village when he said, "Get the women to make a wigwam of bark, put the dead boy in the covering of wigwams, and place the body on the ground in the middle of the wigwam." On the next morning after he had done this, the family and friends went into the lodge and seated themselves around the corpse. When they had been sitting quietly for some time, they saw through the doorway the approach of a bear, which gradually came towards the wigwam, entered it, and placed itself before the dead body and said, "Ho, ho, ho." When he passed around it towards the left side with a trembling motion, and as he did so, the body began quivering. And the quivering increased as the bear continued until he had passed around 4 times. When the body came to life again and stood up, then the bear called to the father, who was sitting in the distant right-hand corner of the wigwam, and addressed to him the following words. I'll try to pronounce this in Ojibwe, but it's not. No, I'll just read it in English because I'm not even going to do that. My father is not an Indian. I am a spirit son. I am my father's son. Insomuch my fellow spirit clearly now as you are. I am you. You are me. My father, now tobacco you shall put. An offering to our father. He mentions of that only once to be able to do it. Why, he shall live here scarcely. He lives thus here with nothing, being victimized and traumatized and wanting to kill myself low-key just because of the hate, but it's whatever. My fellow spirit, clearly now I shall go home. The little bear boy was the one who did this. He then remained among the Anishinaabe and taught them the mysteries of the Midwidwin. And after he had finished, he told his adopted father that his mission had been fulfilled. He was to return to his kindred Menado, for the Anishinaabe would have no need to fear sickness, as they now possessed the Midwidwin, which would enable them to live. He also said that his spirit could bring a body to life but once, and he would now return to the sun, from which they would feel his influence. This event is called Giwizens Wedes Chizigo? I don't even know. Deeds of the Little Boy. Or Deeds of a Little Boy. That's what it is. Tribal groups who have such societies include the blah blah blah. These indigenous peoples of Turtle Island pass along birch bark scrolls, teachings, and have degrees of initiation and ceremony. They are often associated with the Seven Fires Society. And if you look up the Seven Fires prophecy, or they made an eighth one, but which they basically said if the Midweedwen are able to get back to their ways of teaching, then the sound of the drum shall beat again and everything will be at peace. And other Aboriginal groups or organizations. The Migi shells or cowrie shells is used in some ceremonies along with the bundles, sacred items, etc. There are many oral teachings, symbols, stories, history, and wisdom passed along and preserved from one generation to the next by these groups. White Shell Providence Park is named after the white shell used in Midweedwen ceremonies. The park contains some petroforms that are over 1,000 years old. Same with Lake George. That's another thing I wanted people to get to look at. Nothing. Nada. There's a clear petroform of a number 2 with a UFO on it, which I'm guessing signified the second world. And there's a bunch of limestone in a circle where the lake starts. I'm guessing there is a cave somewhere under there. I'm almost 100% positive. Because in between the rocks, what did I find? A little T. It was a T pipe. Or like the end of a pipe, a peace pipe. In between the rocks. I'm guessing there's some cave under there that leads to the river, because I think there is a place at the river as well. And guess what? I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna say that. It says are over 1,000 years old and possibly older, and therefore may predate some Aboriginal groups that came later to the area. The Midwee Society is camaraderie with the name of Midweedwen National Tallgrass Prairie. The Midwee practitioners are initiated and ranked by degrees, much like an apprentice system, Masonic degrees, or an academic degree, or a practitioner. A practitioner cannot advance to the next higher degree until completing the required test to gain the full knowledge of the degree's requirements. Only after successful completion may a candidate be considered for advancement into the next higher degree. The Mide Lodge, also known as Mide Wigwam, when small or Midwigwamig Mide structure, when large, is known in English as the Grand Medicine Lodge, and is usually built in a open grove or clearing. It's weird. I live in Oak Grove. A Mediwagan is a domed structure with the portion of 1 unit in width by 4 units in length. That's pretty much like what my whole sanctuary is basically. It's my meditating spot. This is my peace. This is the only place in the whole world where I find peace. Because you all motherfuckers. I'm playing. But for real, this is the only place I find peace in the whole world. Unless I'm by myself somewhere in nature. Or with others who aren't on my nerves. Though Hoffman records these domed oval structures measuring about 20 feet in width by 80 feet in length, the structures are sized to accommodate the number of invited participants. Thus, many Midweegan for small Mide communities in the early 21st century are as small as 6 feet in width and 24 feet in length, and larger in those communities with more Mide participants. Yeah, there's none around this area. If I'm being completely honest, I think it is a lot of people who do not like Native Americans. The neighborhood is called Old Native Ridge Road. What's crazy about this area too is that every street sign is named after a Native American. And it's like they are honoring, they're doing it for honor. No, that's not that's not what it's for. You want to make it seem like Native Americans, they like celebrate them. Woo! Hell no. That's what they want people to think. Like, oh, hell no. Across from Lake George is a big ass pine tree farm that I'm guessing the Native Americans planted. And in the treaty, it stated that they would get these type of farms, right? I don't think we got that. I think it was stolen, just like Anoka. But here we are. The walls of the smaller Mide wigwam consist of poles and saplings from 8 to 10 feet high, firmly planted in the ground, wattled with short branches and twigs with leaves. In communities with significantly large Mide participants, usually of 100 people or more participants, the Midwegamig becomes a formal and permanent ceremonial building that retains the dimensions of the smaller Mide wigwam. A Midwegamig might not necessarily be a domed structure, but typically may have vaulted ceilings, which can open like a teepee, because that is where the smoke travels to the heaven skies to be answered. Design of the Sakiwagan juggler's lodge or shaking tent, or traditionally shaking wigwam, is similar in construction as that of the Mide wigwam. Unlike the Mide wigwam, this is an oval domed structure. The Jiskawagan is a round high domed structure of typically 3 feet in diameter and 6 feet in height, and large enough to hold 2 to 4 people. The ceremonial seasonal feast. I'm not sure when that is, but performed 4 times per year on probably each equinox or each season. The Wickwandwin is begun with a review of the past events, hope for a good future, and prayer, and then the smoking of the pipe carried out by the heads of the totem. These ceremonies are held in midwinter and midsummer in order to bring together people's various medicines and combine their healing powers for revitalization. Each Wickwandwin is a celebration to give thanks, show happiness and respect to Gichimenado. It is customary to share the first kill of the season during the Wikwan. This would show Gichimenado thanks and also ask for a blessing for the coming hunt, harvest, and season. Birchbark scrolls were used to pass on knowledge between generations. When used specifically for Midweedwin ceremonial use, these birchbark scrolls used as teaching scrolls were called medicine birch bark scrolls. Early accounts of the Mide from books written in the 1800s describe a group of elders that protected the birch bark scrolls in hidden locations. They recopied the scrolls if any were badly damaged, and they preserved them underground. These scrolls were described as very sacred, and the interpretations of the scrolls were not easily given away. The historical areas of the Ojibwe were recorded and stretched from the east coast all the way to the prairies by way of lake and river routes. Some of the first maps of rivers and lakes were made by the Ojibwe and written on birch bark. Teachings of the Midweedwin were scratched on birch bark scrolls and were shown to the young men upon entrance into the society. Although these were crude pictographs representing the ceremonies, they showed us that the Ojibwe were advanced in the development of picture writing. Some of them were painted on bark. One large birch bark roll was known to have been used in the Midweedwin at Mille Lacs for 5 generations, and perhaps many generations before, and 2 others, found in a seemingly deliberate hiding place in the head of the Lakes region of Ontario, were carbon dated around 1560 CE. The author of the original report of these hidden scrolls advised Indians of this region occasionally deposited such artifacts in out-of-the-way places in the woods, either by burying them or by secreting them in caves. The period or periods at which this was done is far from clear, but in any event, archaeologists should be aware of the customs and not overlook the possibility of their discovery. The reason why you do not take things out of tombs, the reason why you do not take what is buried from the dead, is because that is how they return to their items in the next lifetime. That is the main reason. That is meant for those people. That is why it frustrates me that people they steal it from the tombs of like very honorable people, and then they fucking put them in museums to make money off of. I can't even look at my artifacts because they're all in fucking museums that cost hundreds and fucking dollars to get in. No pictures can be found online of these. Like, y'all are fucked up. Teaching stones known in Ojibwe as either whatever, can either be petroglyph or petriform. The 7 fires prophecy was originally taught among the practitioners of Midweedwin. Each fire represents a prophetical age, marking phrases or epics of Turtle Island. It represents key spiritual teachings for North America and suggests that the different colors and traditions of humans can come together on the basis of respect. The Alikins and keepers of the 7 fires prophecy. But Like, it's so fucked up. I mean, it is what it is. But if you have not heard the seven fire prophecies or the seven fires prophecy, I would go listen to that. Talks about the times we're in. I'd also listen to the Hopi prophecy. Also ties in with this one. But so those who are quick to judge a book by its cover, I hope you feel great. Those who cast magic spells on me, I hope you feel great about yourselves. Those who laugh and mock me, hack all my stuff, mentally, emotionally abuse me, I hope you feel great about yourselves. Thank you for all of the trouble. Thank you for making my life a miserable hell 24/7. And you wonder why I don't want to leave this area. Why I don't want to leave this little ass fucking jail cell, basically. Even though that's how it's a. This is the one spot I feel I can be myself. So thank you for that. Just want to say I highly appreciate it. Yeah, I'm clearly mentally delusional as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for trying to get me back into the system, which took so hard to get out of. Thank you for that. Thank you for spreading lies, rumors, smear campaigns about me. Thank you. I forgive you. Forgive you all. I always did. But when I act out, I am delusional or crazy. You know, it's unfair for somebody who gets attacked constantly every minute of every day to fight back. That's what my people did the whole time. We always showed them love. Always. But they want to, expect Native Americans to just lie down while they shoot them in the head. Make it easy for them. Right? We're not supposed to fight back. No, everything is supposed to be, how can we make every other group the most comfortable in life so that they may feel good about the way that life is going for them. You know, we'll focus on ourselves last. We'll make sure everyone else is living the lives that they hope and wish to be living. I see how you guys like to play the game. Very interesting. But, I forgive you. I hope this, puts some thought into, yeah, whatever. I hope this, think what you want on this, whatever. Reflect back on it. or not, it doesn't matter to me. In the Seven Fires prophecies, it talks about the prophet who will come and talk about having to stop chasing materialistic things. Otherwise, the world is going to end. You guys do not believe me. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter to me if you believe me or not. I did my job here on earth. What I was sent here to do, I did it. Believe it or not, it don't matter. It's facts. Truth is, the truth hurts. And everything you guys worked for and strive for in life was, you missed the objective of life. It's very sad. It's very heartbreaking. It's disgusting that you would use, like, this is disgusting. You missed the whole point of life. You wonder why the spirit in everything is not around, really. Pretty much gone. Ceased. Deceased. Pretty much captured. Kept everything. Because whatever. It is what it is. Like I said, I got love for everything, everybody still. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Father, Son, Mother Earth. Thank you, ancestors. Anyway, love y'all. Have a good night.